Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Report After Dark. I am your host, Seven. With me, as always, is my great friend and sometimes weed guy, Dan the Dick Warner.
I'm never his weed guy. He gets
Never
way
weird.
better than shit than this.
We live multiple states away. So, government, I know you're watching us. I buy my weed from a dispensary. Please don't shut
Legally,
that down. But
legally,
you can arrest him. I don't give a fuck.
I get mine from Black's. I mean, Black's convenience store. I buy it from a white guy down there.
Yeah, white guy out behind Black's. Yeah, that's the great spot to go around there.
We got sound effects now, John.
Sound effects, man.
Okay.
So tonight we got some stuff to break down. Probably going to spend way too much time talking about the stupid fucking DeShaun Watson case. Also, a lot going on. Some stuff that was discovered in an investigation regarding the attempted hit on David Ortiz in December of 2009. And the Yankees lost a court case today, and a letter from the MLB that implicates the Yankees doing some things that you're not supposed to do in 2017 that was covered up by the
I don't know about this.
You didn't see that? I thought you saw that.
I have not seen this, so you're gonna see my true reaction to this, to the Yankees, who have a stellar track record of never doing anything wrong.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, they never do anything wrong. Actually, let's talk about that first, because we just spent too much fucking time on the DeShaun Watson thing, so we'll deal with that in a minute. So there was a lawsuit that was filed by a DraftKings user in 2020-ish, 2021, somewhere in there, suing Major League Baseball and a few other parties. It started a class action lawsuit around the sign stealing scandal, the Astros in 2017. During the course of that discovery phase in that lawsuit, there was a letter from the MLB to Brian Cashman, the Yankees, regarding the league covering up alleged sign stealing and illegal communication type activities from the Yankees in 2017 that the league was covering up. And the letter is going to, and the lawsuit ended up getting thrown out. There's been some appeals, but one of the things that was filed was an appeal because trying to get that letter publicly released. The Yankees lost their final appeal on that today, and that letter is going to get released in the next 2 weeks. They're trying to go through. Some things are going to be redacted as far as specific names for their protection. But this letter is going to get made public that the Yankees had alleged illegal activities in the similar time frame with the sign stealing, the Red Sox Apple Watch scandal, just various illegal communications.
I'm gonna just throw it out there that 2017 was the 52 home run season for Aaron Judge.
Just saying.
Coincidence?
Well, I think we're about to find out. But because this sign stealing thing is coming back into conversation, I need to remind everybody, it was not just the Astros.
It was everybody. The Astros just got caught.
Professional sports is a competitive industry. We were talking about this earlier on Sports Report. Professional sports leagues and the individual organizations within them are not vehicles of morality. Even baseball, which is supposed to be America's pastime, is not in any sense, nor has it ever been, a vehicle of morality. So, and then you also have that if you look throughout the history of Major League Baseball, they punish teams for getting caught cheating, not for the cheating.
Right.
And so this is always what's going to happen.
Just in my defense, I am a Yankees fan. And this is and this is not the first time that I have said that everybody was doing it, by the way. So anybody who thinks that, yeah,
it's been proven. It's just like everybody focuses on Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, and Mark McGwire in the, with the steroid era in baseball. Guess what? There were 287 names on the report that was released about how many players were using steroids in baseball during the steroid era.
There's only like 400 some total players. No, hang on. There's like 600 some total players. And those are the guys that, those are 287s, just the guys that got fucking caught. Those are just the guys that got caught. That's almost half the fucking league. Just so everybody knows. Everybody. Hey, you know who else was doing them, Tony? Fucking Jay Buhner. Jay Buhner was doing them. Jay fucking Buhner. And Jay Buhner and all them dudes out there.
Jay Buhner used steroids and was still an average baseball player.
Did you use right? He still hit 230. This isn't like Jay Buhner out there can't wipe his ass trying to play right field. Did you see Andy Pettit's legs in the early 2000s?
They were fucking
Have
tree
you seen
trunks.
Andy Pettit's legs? Yeah. Okay. That dude did not skip leg day. All right. This guy was 6'6", and he had legs like Justin Verlander. Speaking of somebody else who's fucking juicing, Justin Verlander. I see you, motherfucker. I fucking see you.
He was throwing hard today. It was either today or yesterday.
You fucking old man.
Spring training games going, man. I've been watching games when I can, and he threw. It was either yesterday or today. I can't remember. And he looks good.
He's a freak, isn't he?
Oh my God. I love watching that dude pitch.
That's how everybody could be if everybody just did roids, dude.
That's
and
how
here's they would all be.
And this is why my argument with steroids has changed. First of all, we have multiple players that have proven that we can safely administer and utilize steroid cycles for these athletes and see more results. And the important thing to remember is steroids are not what's helping them in game. That is still athletic talent. As Dan has talked to us about multiple times across this and Sports Report, it's about recovery and helping your muscle recovery so that you can build more.
100%.
So, and obviously, as we look at guys like Alex Rodriguez, we'll use him as a prime example because he didn't just get caught using steroid once. He got caught using steroids multiple times.
Yeah.
He's not killing anybody. He's not raging out. He still
was,
put up record-breaking numbers in Major League Baseball.
Right. And when he was with the Mariners, when he first came in, I highly doubt if you look at the stature difference, he was not juicing in the late 90s with the Mariners. He was just really talented. Could hit the cover off the ball, 5'2" player. He was fast. And then he started using steroids. Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer pre-steroids. You can clearly tell where Barry Bonds starts to use steroids. It's about the 98, 99 area and he was already a 300 guy. So get the fuck out of here with Barry Bonds used steroids to get in the Hall of Fame. The guy used steroids probably to break the home run record. Okay. I'll give you that. And Hank Aaron never used steroids, but Barry Bonds still would have hit probably 500 to 600 home runs, over 600 home runs without steroids. I think there's probably an extra 50 in there, maybe to 100.
We'll say 50 to 60. That's pretty reasonable.
But he still has to hit a fucking baseball. Steroids has nothing to do with that.
Steroids is not going to give you the ability to hit a baseball better. That is still athletic ability. It's just like when these teams were stealing signs. You can tell me you're going to throw me a 98 mile an hour fastball, low and inside, but it's still going to be over the plate. Okay. That gives me a square that I can pretty much figure out that pitch is going to go to. Guess what? 9 times out of 10, I'm going to miss that pitch. The 10th time, I'm going to fucking foul it.
Right. You might foul tip it.
Yeah, I'll get a foul tip once. I mean,
I used to make jokes about if I took 300 major league at bats, I might tip a ball twice. I might tip one, Like I might tip one twice. I'm going 0 for 315 though. Like I'm going 0 for 3. I'll eventually, like in the 60s area, I'll just be standing up there hoping a guy walks me. And they won't walk you if they know that you're.
No, they're going to throw to you every time because they know you couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with Donald Trump's face.
Absolutely. I'm choking up on that motherfucker. I'm trying to, I'm out there trying to slap bunt like it's softball. And I might tip a ball a couple times. That's how hard this is, guys. It's not usually, do some roids to hit a home run. Fuck out of here.
And that's the thing, is you've got this projectile that's coming at you at 90 plus miles an hour. And here's the thing, that ball is only going to get faster. You go onto ESPN's Facebook page, I believe it was yesterday, they shared a video of a college pitcher for the Tennessee baseball team. 3 pitches in a row over a bill.
I saw that, yeah.
That kid's 19 years old, I think is what I saw.
Yeah.
19 years old and he's throwing over a bill. There are a lot of pitchers in today's league that can't do that. But you tell me that we can safely give them something that increases their recovery and their building. We're gonna see this kid get more control in his pitches so that 103 mile an hour ball isn't hitting a player. It's in play. And that kid, we don't have to, maybe with that building up and supporting those muscles, we don't lose that kid to a Tommy John surgery during his career.
Well, if he's smart, he already has it. Just go ahead and get that thing bionic before you even start.
Because if you wait, if you haven't gotten the Tommy John surgery done by the time you get in the majors, as a major league pitcher, you will miss a season because of Tommy John's. Yes. It's not if, it's when. And if it doesn't come up until the middle of a season, you're going to miss the rest of that season and the start of the following season. And you're not coming back until the break.
So just for people who don't know what that essentially is, Tommy John surgery, basically all they're doing is they're cutting out a piece of ligament in your elbow. And because that's the piece of ligament that will stretch out most easily, and it will become basically loose so that you cannot get as much power behind what your forearm to your elbow. So when they're torquing it, that's why they're ripping a lot of it, because they're coming over the top and they're stretching it, they're ripping it, and it becomes a problem to where they sometimes can't throw. So they're just cutting that thing completely out and connecting the other two together in what seems to be a more biologically correct way, which is very strange.
Verlander's throwing great after his.
For baseball, it's more biologically correct. But like the evolution of human beings, no. But like for baseball, it's more correct for them to just connect that thing straight to that, because that's where that action's coming from. So just get it done off the bat. But I mean, I'm not saying we need to go in and like make all these guys bionic, but that's basically what we're doing, is we're just connecting. I mean, they're basically just freaks.
It's your advantage to get it done earlier, because you don't want to miss a season when you're supposed to be making millions of dollars.
Yes.
And that's the honest thing. That's what it comes down to. And we can talk about player salaries all we want. That's a different conversation. When you're thinking about your business as an athlete, if you can lose a year when you're only making 10 grand versus losing a year where you're making $4 million
and a meal, possibly,
and several meals,
and it's a lot of meals.
Like, it's more beneficial. But also, when we look at steroids, there is, we've proven that we can administer it with doctors, and we don't have the adverse effects that we believe these things had. And that means things like roid rage. Really, what that comes from is somebody doing steroids and not doing anything else.
Yep.
If you're not working out, you're not competing, that is going to build up. It's just like if you are somebody that goes to a supplement shop, you go to GNC and you get muscle milk and you get your creatine, you get all of that, and you take all of those shakes like you're going to work out, and then you don't do anything. Guess what? You are going to go apeshit.
Yes.
It's going to happen. I'm speaking from experience, because when I was younger and I used to work out, I'm too fucking lazy to do it now. But when I was younger and I used to work out, I would use those supplements because it made a difference. Those things are great.
Those weights are so heavy, Tony.
It's so goddamn heavy.
Yeah. Those weights are heavy.
But it made a difference. But if I didn't work out, I was angry. I was agitated. I would have anxiety attacks. Like it was a lot. And that's where this comes from. And also some of these cases that they thought were roid rage were actually CTE, like Chris Benoit, that was not roid rage.
Nope.
That was CTE.
Yep. He was definitely getting plenty of his energy out. I'll just say that and leave it at that. He was getting plenty of his energy out, and prednisone is a steroid. If anybody's ever taken prednisone, you've taken a steroid.
That's different.
It
is
a different steroid. But
because we're talking anabolic versus metabolic. But
right. It is essentially for the same thing, which is the regrowth of muscle fiber and the regeneration of muscles, correct?
Right. Like with prednisone, it's more about getting those different medicines that you're also taking for whatever you're also getting the steroid for.
To be enhanced.
To boost that and to help your body heal quicker and recover quicker.
Right.
It's the similar concept. It can be done, but if we're going to do that, everybody gets the shot.
If you want to, obviously don't make them do it, but like
if you want to,
that's where it's going to get kind of chippy. If they ever do go, okay, well, yeah, everybody can do it, but we are going to regulate it, like everything in moderation. If they regulate it and do it correctly, and they just say like, okay, that's where it's going to get a little weird. Is like, okay, so if somebody doesn't want to put that into their body, then I guess you just don't play. Like that's really how weird it's gonna get. That's why it's a little bit weird to actually implement them doing it. But like if you just legalized it, instead of going out and playing and losing that muscle fiber and then having to regain it and get back to the same spot,
right?
You're going to automatically be back at the same spot, and then you can build that on top, back at the same spot, build that on top, and so on and so forth. That's basically the idea.
It helps the progress. And so if we're giving everybody that fair shot, but like, let's remember here, the steroid era started in 95 when the return of baseball after the MLB strike that took away the 94 World Series. Okay. Barry Bonds, by alleged information, because he still officially was never actually confirmed to have used steroids outside of the report, but for all intents and purposes, based on the available information, like Dan said, it was like 98 to 99. If you look at Barry Bonds' numbers before that time, he already had a Hall of Fame career. And that was including time where he was playing against other people that were using steroids, and he was still one of the best athletes in the game. Him taking steroids was a domino effect of the rest of his peers taking him and him trying to stay competitive.
Yeah.
And so now, yes, the steroid era did rob us of some raw talent in baseball and guys that were trying to do it right. And I will give you that. But we also have to be objective and look at what results we did get. Baseball's a business. Baseball is trying to keep people interested. The best ratings in baseball came during the home run race, the home run hitting the home run record competition between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. And then again, when Barry Bonds was doing it, those were some of the best rated times in baseball when it comes to ratings. Ratings sell ad space and drive up the price of those ads, and that's where baseball makes their money. Tickets don't mean dick. If you think I'm wrong, remember, every professional sports team was still profitable without fans in the stands. That's not just baseball. The NBA was fine. The NFL was fine too. But also, along with the steroids, let's go ahead and touch back on, the other thing. This was a topic last year in baseball, the sticky substances and the pitch control. Sticky substances are not a problem in baseball. The problem is you need to regulate which ones they can use. The reason players are using other things isn't because they're trying to get a super big edge. It's because the option that they have of rosin and pine tar, and it can only be a little bit, is not enough. I don't want to get hit by a 95-mile-an-hour fastball in my side because the pitcher can't control his pitch.
Yeah. It makes it more dangerous.
And
quite literally makes it more dangerers.
We saw last year after, and to my point on this, what makes it even more important, last year after they started enforcing the sticky substance checks in Major League Baseball, couple of weeks later, we saw Kevin Pillar take a 95-mile-an-hour fastball to the face and get a broken nose.
Yep.
We see these guys, and it wasn't intentional by the pitcher.
No.
Pitcher felt fucking horrible.
Yeah.
As you should. But the pitcher, these players want to be able to do these things. Give us 105 mile an hour fastballs that are accurate and have the right movement. 95 mile an hour breaking balls, which sounds crazy when you think about it, but if you're starting to scale that stuff up, that's what's going to happen. You imagine a curveball going 95 miles an hour? You know how fucking hard that would be to hit?
I mean, dude, Noah Syndergaard throws a 94 mile an hour slider. That's no joke.
Dude, and Dustin May of the Dodgers, his two-seam, it has like 18 inches of movement across the plate.
Yeah, it cuts a lot.
It is ridiculous. But and those pitches are remarkable to watch. And those games are fun to watch when those pitchers are doing those things.
Yes.
But what we also don't want is players like what happened to Kevin Pillar of the Mets last year, getting hit in the face and a broken nose over, because these pitchers don't have the resources to control pitches like they should. They need to open up the options. Baseball, it's okay to grow and move off of the rosin bag on the mound.
Yep.
A little bit of sticky stuff sitting on their belt that they can tap every few pitches to keep control is not going to hurt the game. It's going to make batters safer.
Right. They wouldn't miss that badly in general ever. These guys are fucking professionals, dude. They can put it in very small spaces. Like, they don't miss like that unless you tell them that they can't use something like that they've been using the whole time, and just be like, oh, no more. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, that's literally just like, that's like telling a bowler that they can't use their, their rosin bag and their little hand warmer thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to miss because that's what they do all the time. It's repetitive. They're doing the exact same thing. They're creatures of habit.
It's, and especially with how much effort these guys put into this, as a pitcher, yes, you have, if you're a starter, you throw 1 out of every 4 or 5 games, depending on off days. But you also throw bullpen sessions. You probably come out of the bullpen at least once out of that other 5-day stretch. You need to be able to take care of you need to be able to take care of yourself and the impacts that what that has on your body. One of the things to remember is that any professional pitcher, when they stop playing baseball, their throwing arm is usually about 1/4 of an inch longer than their other arm.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
look at
one of the impacts that it has. It makes it longer.
I mean, look at those famous stills of dudes with when they're in their downstroke, their fucking elbow is like behind their head, and it's tweaked out so bad that they're putting so much force behind it. And it's going to stretch it out. It's going to obviously that's the Tommy John thing. It's going to stretch those ligaments in the elbow. So basically what they're doing is like, they're going to shorten it up off the bat, shorten it so it can stretch out, essentially. Like, so you're almost growing into your elbow at that point because of the action that you're putting on your pitches. And on a random note, for anybody who's like, you don't need to take steroids, I agree. 1998, what we just talked about, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa go at it for 70 home runs. Sosa hit 66 in the same year. Does anybody know trivia question, anybody know who won the AL MVP that year? Anybody know who won the AL MVP that year? Ken Griffey Jr. had the best season out of anybody, hit like 304, 56 homers, 130 some RBIs, and for all intents and purposes, never used steroids. Just had the prettiest swing that we've probably ever seen.
Oh, and yeah, it's like Van Gogh painting. Like, that's such a. He was an art at the plate, man. Like, he was an artist at the plate, legitimately.
I don't think Mike Trout has ever juiced. So there's
and Mike Trout's another example. He's a modern day Griffey in that regard. I can agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think Mike Trout's ever juiced, and that's just a freak though. Those dudes don't come along very often. So I mean, you got your Jay Buners, and you got your Andy Pettitte.
Royd's doing 230. I just can't.
He just crushing it. As Pete Rose would say about Joey Gallo, I'd have shot myself in the head if I'd have struck out 220 times. I just would have shot myself in the head.
I love Pete Rose.
I fucking love that quote.
Oh, God.
He was like, he struck out 230 times playing half the time. He said, if I'd have done that, I'd have shot myself in the head. I was like, oh my God. That is savage.
But Pete Rose is another example. Like, and obviously, like, what he did with gambling as a coach, and some potential accusations about different things and changing lineups to get with, to satisfy people and changing jerseys in the middle of the game to sell them for game worn stuff to pay off debts. Like, that stuff's not okay. But when we look at Pete Rose, the ball player, he was, and to this day, outside of like maybe Ted Williams is another one in this conversation, one of the best pure hitters to ever touch the baseball field. Go back. You can go onto
Not
YouTube.
juicing.
You can not juicing, right? But you can go, if you go onto YouTube and just search Pete Rose hitting footage.
Freak.
The best pure hitter in baseball. In baseball history.
Watch his hands. His hands are amazing. He literally his hands are amazing. He directional hits the whole fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was one of those guys that if you would have put the shift on him, he can hit it away from the shift. Yeah. And that's the funny thing is they come out and they're like, oh, well, the shift should stay in because you should be able to directional hit. Shut the fuck up. Like most of these guys can't directional. Come on, man. Like it's hard enough to pull the ball. It's hard to just be a straight pull hitter in Major League Baseball, let alone just be like, oh yeah, just going to put it right over there. Like not everybody is Mike Trout. Not everybody is Pete Rose.
Not every, and you're right. And but that's my thing. Like, I think that, and I will say, like, I'm not 100% sure I'm okay with the shift being banned in baseball. I get the reasoning. Ultimately, like, yes, there are the purists that are okay with it. It's about the competition. Baseball doesn't give a fuck about the competition.
No,
they want high scoring games because they want ratings.
Yep.
That's what it is. And so that's why the league that's why the league caved on the DH rule. That's why the league said the ban of the shift. Like those things are coming.
Tony, are there any actual, so I actually have a question and I really don't know this. Are there any actual rules to you have to play a third baseman, a shortstop? Like you have to have two people in the infield between second and third. You have to have two people in the infield between first and second. You have to have, there's rules for that.
Right. So
are there?
You had to have, so the rule was previously the way that it's written now, because the shift hasn't actually been officially banned yet. That's coming.
But
the DH is now, but the way that it is right now, the rules are you have to have a player for each position. The 3 outfielders, your 4 infielders, your pitcher and your catcher. All of those slots have to be out on the field. But it is open right now as to where they are stationed. There is a lot of freedom right now. Like really, realistically, you could take all 4 of your infielders and put them out in the outfield right now with your right field, center field,
if you wanted
to, left field. If you wanted to, you could do that right now.
That should be the basis. That's what I'm asking is like, that's the basis of baseball rules, correct? Like, I can fucking play all 9 of my guys between first and second if I want to. I can have them stand in a circle and light a fire. Obviously not light a fire, but like I can have them stand right in between. Are there any actual rules that say I have to play? Like I can just call them shortstop, second, blah, blah, blah. I get why you would have to have a pitcher and a catcher, right? Because you got to have somebody to catch the fucking ball.
Right. That part is concrete. But as far as like the rest of the infield and the outfield.
The other 7, do I have any rules on where I can put, if I want to put all of my dudes in right field lined up against the wall, backward, facing the wall, I should be able to do that as a manager, correct? I mean, it's dumb
technically
as fuck.
Right now, I don't think technically right now, I don't think there are any rules against it.
Yeah.
Now I think that's going to change, and I think the reason why the shift ban was agreed to in the new collective bargaining agreement that was agreed to end the MLB lockout, but I think it's going to take a season before that actually takes effect, and that's a theory. It may not be. It may just be that one may be regular season,
right?
But my theory is they're going to wait because they have to figure out how to word it, because the goal is to limit all of the players on one side or having more than the 3 players in the outfield. Those are the 2 things that they're trying to curb with banning the shift.
That's what I'm saying is like,
right. That's what they're wanting to fix is they're wanting to basically make it where you have to have 2 between first and second and third. Right. And you can't have more than 3 players in the outfield.
Right. And it's going to matter so much how they word it too, because if I want to put a shift on, I'm just still going to take my third baseman and put him at shortstop. And I'm just going to have my fast ass shortstop or second baseman switch over
right there against
the left. Yep. Just to the left of second base. And I can still put a shift on you because all I'll do is right after the pitch is thrown, I just shift over into the, you know what I'm saying? Over into the second base. And you can still do it. If your guys are fast enough, you could still technically put a shift on no matter what. If your guys are fast enough and athletic enough, you could just still do it.
I think that and I think what it is, and this is my theory on how you combat that and still utilize the shift. So you're exactly right to a point. You're going to cheat everybody over as much as you can, but this does also put an emphasis on still needing to have a quick infield.
Yes.
Because you can't start over there. You have to move over there.
Yes.
When contact is made. Because I would assume they're going to limit it until contact is made, because at that point, there's nothing you can do.
Right.
So I would say not even just because the pitch is thrown, you've got to be able to book it the second that pitch is hit. So that second baseman or that shortstop, whichever's quicker and can move into the outfield quicker, they're going to be right against that sand to grass line as far back as they can go. That way, the second that crack of the bat hits, they're gone.
Right. Right. And
they're tracking the ball. They're trying to see how they can support if it's going in that direction.
I mean, and basketball has kind of already put in rules and defensive 3 seconds.
Right.
Right. You have defensive 3 seconds and then the offensive 3 seconds, which they call something else. I can't think of the term right now. What's the offensive 3 seconds called in basketball? I can't think of it, but yeah. Defensive 3 seconds. You just can't stand. You just can't stand in the lane the whole fucking, like, you have to get out of the lane. So like, basically they could do that with baseball too. And just say like, third base has to stay halfway between second and third base. You know what I'm saying? Until contact is made, and an extra base will be rewarded if a guy shifts before that and things like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like the terminology of that is so fucking confusing to me, because like we said, like, I could just line all my dudes up right in center field and have them face backward in a circle if I want to. Like that, I'm a manager.
I mean, ultimately, that's the way the rules written right now. But you just have to have the players on the field.
I cannot have a catcher. Technically, it's dumb as shit. But like,
you still have to have them. But
right, but you'd have to have them on the field. But I can put my catcher at first base and just have the pitches hit the back of the backstop. Technically, I mean, it's weird, because if the catcher's not there, those pitches are going to hit the umpire, and they really don't want that. They're not going to do that. No, the umpire's going to get out of the way. You're gonna. I mean, no, like the pitcher and the catcher are stationary. That part, I think you have to have a catcher behind home plate. I'm obviously getting ridiculous with it. Like, well, technically, if I can put him anywhere, I'll put him anywhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm getting ridiculous with it. But like, you could, and that's why the terminology is going to matter so much with like
absolutely, because
it's going to matter.
And also, again, you have managers whose job it is to win and find every competitive edge that they can. And so you're still going to find different ways that we may not even be thinking of because of how they're going to word it, whether they're going to exploit that, astronomically exploit it. And then and that's going to be a new strategy. Joey Gallo is not going to have to worry about hitting on a shift anymore, but third is standing where shortstop usually does. That shortstop's got his foot on the bag. He's close enough. That way he can just book it. Like they're right there. Like it's not the shift, but it's as close as you can get. That way, when the crack of the bat happens, they can get to position quicker. And also something weird that I don't like that it's going to affect is I love huge infielders. Like I love like Alex Rodriguez playing shortstop. The dude's like 6'3", 220. Like I love huge infielders that are power hitters. That's going to have to change. You're going to have a dude, at least one of them is going to have to be like a fast little guy. You know what I'm saying? This makes Jose Altuve and Trey Turner and these guys like some of the best infielders in the game, essentially, because they're going to have to be able to move. And this is why Boston's going to be strong in the American League East, because you're going to have Trevor Story and Xander Bogaerts at second and short. Dude, Trevor Story is huge, by the way. Trevor Story is big. He's still one of the best infielders in the game. He's good. Yeah, he's obviously agile. Like and he's good enough that, like, as much as I love Xander Bogaerts as a Red Sox player, he's definitely got that history with the team, and I love him as a fan. I'm not going to be as disappointed if the person that's transitioning after this season into shortstop because Xander goes is Trevor Story. I'm all right with that. I'm not a big fan of Alex Verdugo at second, but he does all right for a big dude. Dude, I would absolutely trade out Xander Bogaerts for Trevor Story, right? I mean, honestly, if you're going to be like, you have to pick one to start a franchise with, I'm probably going to go Trevor Story, honestly. Also, like, if you go into Twitter, you can find, like, some people have shared like spray charts for what Trevor Story has hit inside Fenway. There's a reason he picked the Red Sox over more money. Oh yeah, he is going to rake. Yeah. Yes, that wall is his best fucking friend. If you want to just
like one look at the story of the future of Boston and Trevor's story. It's literally going to be him just hitting the fucking scoreboard with that loud ass fucking pang. It's going to fucking go up. It's going to be going off there all the time because that dude rips to left
He's
field.
going to put holes in the Green Monster. That's how hard that dude rips. Like, that's what's going to happen.
They need to build a new fucking stadium, by the way. What are they doing?
Go fuck yourself. Fenway is fine. Shut the fuck up.
Keep the fucking Green Monster. Like, literally take the actual wall and put it into the new stadium. But build a new stadium, you fucking cheap fucks. Jesus Christ.
It's
like
the oldest stadium
piece of shit.
But
that
here's
stadium
the thing.
is a piece of shit.
But listen, you know who did that and fucked up? The Yankees, because they got rid of old Yankee Stadium, which was one of the greatest ballparks to watch a game in. And it kills me to say that as a Red Sox fan. In favor of the dog shit stadium that they have now, that even New York fans that have been faithful in New York and going to games for 50 years are just like, yeah, no, I'm out.
They kept some of the history though. Dude, you're gonna have to build a new fucking stadium eventually. Like, okay, so renovate it. Do something.
Oh, they renovate.
They
still
got the same seats. They still got the same seats from like the 70s. There's still
they update though. They update.
There's a guy that works at Fenway Stadium. This is not a joke. Whose only job is to carry big fucking numbers around, like big zeros after nobody scores in an inning, and he fucking climbs up a sliding ladder and puts the fucking numbers into this big ass fucking wall scoreboard because it's still 1952 apparently. Like, if you get a new stadium, you cheap fucks.
No,
and stop being such fucking racist. You're all fucking.
They have asked. They have put it out there though, and here's the thing: they have put it out there though to go completely digital with that stuff, and Boston fans have said no. Like, they have a digital scoreboard now, as well, but Red Sox fans have overwhelmingly said they want that old school scoreboard and cheering when the guy waves the number around and takes it up
like a ring girl.
Yeah, he's like a ring old person.
He's like a ring old guy, like a ring old white guy. Speaking of, hey, they're definitely gonna. I mean, let's be honest, they're definitely gonna get rid of Xander Bogaerts over Trevor Story because Trevor Story's white. So they'll love Trevor Story. And I mean, do they know what race Alex Verdugo is? Because they seem like they're a pretty big fan of his. I think they might be a little. You're like, we need to go to break.
I swear to God, I'll just turn off your fucking microphone. I'll do it. I have that power as the producer.
I'll fucking do it. I'll turn myself off.
Oh, hold on. Hi, Victor. Thank you for joining us. But the thing for me with this is you've got,
Victor, if you just joined us, I apologize. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, apparently that's been there for a minute. But
okay.
I have to, but when it comes to these things with baseball, when we started this conversation talking about the Yankees cheating, allegedly, cheating happens in professional sports. It's not just baseball. And also there's other stuff like the Deflategate stuff. Everybody's talking about Tom Brady destroying evidence and stuff like that. There's now proof that the NFL manufactured most of that because they were trying to take Brady down.
Yeah.
Because he had taken such a control of the brand and his image was so much the face of the NFL, they can do anything about it.
I don't even want to get
work.
I don't even want to get into that conversation because we'll be on it for 3 fucking hours. But was Tom Brady bad for the NFL? How was Tom?
No.
I don't know if Tom Brady was bad for the NFL. He's like the dark side. He's like the Empire.
No, this is Roger Goodell not liking. This is Roger, and here's the, and I'm going to draw this parallel. If any of you ever watched like WWE and wrestling, one of the biggest problems with sports entertainment today when it comes to WWE is the WWE does not let the wrestlers get bigger than the brand like they used to in the Attitude Era. We had guys like Kane, Undertaker, Mankind,
Stone Cold.
The Rock, Stone Cold. All of these guys got bigger than the brand and could do whatever they wanted. John Cena. One of the most recent ones was CM Punk. That dude got bigger than the brand.
Interesting. I I had heard about that guy, and then I wasn't watching it at the time. And Cena, obviously, I didn't I wasn't watching it then either, but like I knew about him. And then I heard the CM Punk thing and I was like, I don't even know who that is. Like I wouldn't recognize him if I saw him on the street for real. And then I was like, okay, I just didn't get it. I guess he was that big. He was that big of a deal.
It's and here's the thing with CM Punk. CM Punk in the ring, technically, when you look at wrestling and what that product is, yes, we get that it's fake. We don't give a fuck. Let's just talk about what it is. In the ring, technically, he was not the best. But just like with most of these famed wrestlers that have followed with the WWF and WWE product, going all the way back, like Randy Savage, the whole, Hulk Hogan, the Attitude, the guys that got big at the Attitude Era. When you put a mic in his hand, magic happens.
Right.
Cody Rhodes is so big, he can step out into an arena that's packed with people. WrestleMania, 100,000 people in a stadium.
Is that his name?
Or no, I'm sorry, not Cody Rhodes, CM Punk. CM Punk, he's he can walk out and as one man control the entire crowd.
Right.
And just go for like 10 minutes and everybody stays engaged. Nobody gives a fuck. All this guy,
And Rock could, Stone Cold could.
Exactly. And that's the effect that had. But the NFL was trying to go back on topic, was trying to go Vince McMahon and not let a player get as big or bigger than the brand. And so they tried to take him down and it failed miserably.
They let that one get a little out of control before they tried to take him down.
Yeah. I mean, you're about 3 years too late, Roger Goodell. Like, seriously.
Yeah, you should have probably tried to, maybe 2005 would have been the correct time to try and do that. Like, somewhere around that area. Like, Goodell was like, oh, shit, break. And like, nah, it ain't happening, bro. And then he comes back and wins 3 more and it's like, you really didn't do that, did you? You basically gave that guy the fucking keys to the kingdom.
And to choose a game where they were blowing the opponent out, and it wasn't because Tom Brady had better grip of the ball, it was because the Colts were playing absolutely fucking horrible, mind you.
Tony, that 0.6 PSI in that football had a 38-point difference. We both know that 0.6 PSI had a 38-point difference in that game. Clearly.
And of course, there's the scientific fact. Like if you fucked off in science in middle school and high school, you may not remember that when things get cold, they get smaller.
Yes.
Fellas, step outside in very little clothing when it's cold as fuck outside and see what happens to your balls.
They get taut. Very taut.
Very quickly.
Very
It's very taut. So, but you've got, I mean, it's just a science, So
just any attempt, and I didn't even mean to say that they gave Tom Brady the keys to the kingdom. Tom Brady fucking took the keys to the kingdom. So you're talking about the man who unretired and made the release of the March Madness brackets for men's college basketball. What's supposed to be one of the biggest sports stories for the entire month of March, and just made it dead in the water. God, nobody gave a fuck. I love how strategically it was with the timing too.
Oh,
right before the Super Bowl, he's like, "Yeah, I retire," and they were like, "What now?" Like, never mind about the Super Bowl. Shut the fuck up about the Super Bowl. What just happened? What just happened? And he's just in it. Even when he's not in it, which he is almost every year, he still takes all the fucking media for the Super Bowl like a G, just out like a fucking G. Exactly like somebody taking over the fucking brand. Exactly like somebody taking over the brand.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and that's the thing is the NFL was trying to take down its own monster. And, we can all hate Tom Brady because he kept all of our teams from winning Super Bowls and getting into the playoffs and shit. Guess what? I'm a Chiefs fan. Tom Brady can go fuck himself. But he's the GOAT, man.
Tom, if you're
listening, it's fucking simple.
Tom, if you're listening, Tom's a regular listener.
Gotta be. I mean, Tom, as legendary as we are.
He listens in his Tesla. He's got us on his big screen in his Tesla as he's going auto drive. He's wearing white khakis with his manicure. He listens regularly. Tom, if you're listening, I'm here, buddy. I gave you my number a couple years ago. You never called me, so hit me up, bud. I want your butt chin. I like that butt chin.
You like that butt chin?
I'm all about that butt chin.
He's got
a strong jaw. The very strong jaw.
Very
He also kisses his son on the mouth in a very strange way. If you guys haven't seen that, look that shit up.
Listen, if Tom Brady goes to kiss me, I'm going for tongue. He's going to get one shot at that.
Oh, I mean, I wish I was his son most of the time, honestly.
I mean, who wouldn't want to grow up breastfeeding off of Giselle Bundchen?
Good God. I mean, is there enough in her to breastfeed? Let's be honest. There might not be enough. It's like,
I mean, I would think so. Yeah. I mean, when you're going through that stage, they get a little extra on there. So I would think. Do
you think that you could see the impression of the infant when it was in her stomach? Like you could actually see it moving around?
I mean, we're talking about a woman who eats a grape that's not cut in half and we can all see it. Yes.
All the time, right? Yeah. Yeah. Just all the time.
Poor thing. I'm sure she probably wants to be able to gain weight, but between being a model and she probably, with everything that she goes through, she probably has like this remarkable metabolism and can't, even if she wants to. I have a female friend of mine that's like that. Her name is Tamanda. She lives in Kansas City, and she works. She used to work at Domino's, and she gets all the pizza she fucking wants, especially as a manager. Like, what are they gonna do? And she still weighs like 90 pounds.
So she just takes massive shits is basically what it is.
It's got to be what it is. Like, it's just a cow patty at this point. Just, you know what I mean?
Like it literally just, like, it's one of those ones that comes out of the water every time. Like, it, like, builds up enough to come out of the water every single time. It's like just flushing multiple times to get it down. We should probably go to break before this gets worse.
Yeah. Oh, God. It's not
gonna get better.
Oh, shit. Sure. Okay. All right. You know what? Let's lighten the mood and talk about DeShaun Watson a little bit more.
Amanda, hit me up, girl.
Oh,
all right.
No, she has standards. You don't have a chance.
Standards. What? Because she's black? What are you talking about, Tony?
No, she's white. She's one of the. She like has like.
Her name is Tamanda. All right.
Go fuck yourself.
Confused. Now I'm super confused.
Yeah. Just like that first day in prison when you enjoyed it. I know.
Gay for the stay, buddy. Gay for the stay.
Okay. All right. So I'm really conflicted about the DeShaun Watson thing. For those of you, just as a trigger warning, we're going to be talking about sexual assault cases. So, discretion is advised. Take care of yourself first. I understand if you can't watch it, I'm not going to get mad at you.
If you've stuck with us this far, I'm pretty sure you're all right.
I mean, really, but hey, I throw that out there respectfully anyway.
I understand.
But we've got a guy that through due process wasn't indicted, but it's clear based on available information that what he was doing majority of the time in these cases was not okay. We see a pattern, but there's, we're not going to see any legal repercussions at this point outside of anything from the lawsuits. Cleveland traded 5 picks to Houston, 3 first-rounders and 2 others, which Houston didn't have any first-rounders for a while, thanks to Bill O'Brien. So I get that. Like, good for them for getting some of that back from how he screwed them over. And I completely understand not making any attempt. Well, I'm sure they probably tried a little bit, but like not fighting to keep DeShaun anymore. Like, just get rid of him. Just get him out of the city, change the conversation, get him out of your subject line.
Out of sight, out of mind until he comes back.
He comes back.
In a Browns uniform.
In a Browns uniform, and then you're going to have to deal with so much more fucking security.
Oh, God.
If the Texans play the Browns at any point, like in hell, it may happen this year. I don't know. But if the Texans play the Browns at any point, that is going to be the tensest fucking game in history. Plain and simple.
Right. It'll be the best, worst game that anybody's ever seen, for sure.
Absolutely. But
can I just say off the top, though, too, with DeShaun? I'm not even convinced that guy's a good quarterback. I'm not. What has he done? What has he done?
I mean, before
flashes. He shows flashes all the time, but it's been without any kind of merit. What has he done?
I mean, a couple of playoff trips, at least one, I think, right?
He went to a couple of playoffs.
Yeah, but like
playoffs
and playoffs.
Playoffs.
No, from a game standpoint, he's a name. And there are a lot of scouts and analysts that will put him as one of the top that will put him in the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. Even guys like Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, as well as Colin Cowherd, just those Fox hosts. We'll throw those line and all of there. They all have him top 3.
Top 3 what?
Quarterback in the league.
In the NFL?
Yeah. Brady, Mahomes, and DeShaun.
That motherfucker is top 9 or 10, maybe.
I can put him in the top 10, but I don't know that I can put him in the top 5. Especially with guys, especially with this resurgence or the explosion of guys like Justin Herbert,
Justin Allen,
Burrow,
Lamar Jackson is better than DeShaun Watson. Lamar Jackson's a better version of DeShaun Watson.
No, because DeShaun Watson's more accurate. I would take DeShaun over Lamar.
As a throwing quarterback, I'm taking DeShaun Watson, yes. But I think as an overall quarterback, I don't think there's that much of a difference. I think we're really be cherry picking if we're gonna be like, oh,
it's an accurate comp. It really is. Yeah. And that's the thing that's like, when we were talking earlier on Sports Report about comparing Embiid to Shaq. That's Lamar and DeShaun is a pretty accurate. I would compare Lamar and DeShaun before I would compare Mahomes to either one of them.
Absolutely.
Because there are some similarities, but he is just in a completely different genre with what he does.
I think Favre is the best Patrick Mahomes comparison. And I think young Favre.
Yeah.
Because Patty is more mobile. And it will always probably be
and he has more mobility and awareness. And for those that don't remember that period for Favre when he was young, that's why Favre became what he became, was because of his mobility and his awareness.
Yes. And the gunslinger thing. They think they can make every throw because they can. And sometimes they overextend themselves because you can't Madden throw a ball 70 yards off your back foot running away from players. You really just can't do it. It's not possible. But they actually, they're so good and they've done it before that they think they can do it every time, and they tend to make mistakes because of that. But at the same time, Favre is the best comparison. Patty is more, my adopted son is more, I'm 408th in line to adopt Patrick Mahomes as my.
Oh, the number moved up. You're 400.
Yeah. 5 people dropped out. 5 people dropped out because they're idiots and they were like, this is never going to happen. And I was like, I'm staying in line because even when I'm 60, he's going to be 5 years younger than me, but I will still be his daddy. And he will know that I am his father. But he will know that his dad definitely did not play in Major League Baseball and is definitely still alive. And definitely I can't adopt him. He will just know these things. Is it about the money for me, Tony? No, it's not. It's not about the money for me. It's about loving Patty and loving him as a man and really just bringing him in, It's just really what it's about. It's very sentimental to me. Regardless, I tried to adopt Brett Favre too. I don't know if anybody that was way back when. That was way back when. That was when he was on the painkillers, and I was like, yes, let's get this guy.
He needs some good parenting to get him off of those painkillers. That's
sending dick pics. Fucking Favre sending dick pics. I hope Patty doesn't have a dick pic period. Good God. Jesus Christ.
No, I love Brittany Mahomes, because she has been next to that dude since high school.
He's so smart.
She's got her own businesses, and he's smart enough that he locked in with a girl he's been with since high school, so he doesn't have to think about those ulterior motives that other individuals would have. And let's just be honest, they're going, but at the same time, when I look at her, she's smart, but she also looks like that chick that goes through her dude's phone every night after he goes to bed.
Absolutely.
Has tracking devices on his phone, see where he's at.
You know it. Yeah.
Is she just like that? She has that crazy look in her eyes, but as the Barney Stinson's crazy hot scale has taught us, she's good.
Absolutely. And that's the only chick that he knows really likes him for him. That's
Not as much.
essentially what it comes down to. Yes. I mean, that's essentially what it comes down to. Well, how do you ever know? Like, yes, is it possible for a woman to love him with who he is now? Yes, it is
course,
possible.
absolutely.
It is possible.
But
okay, is it
it's
highly
hard to find.
unlikely?
It's
for that
hard
to be
to
a
find
thing?
somebody that's not going to be that thing. Like you would have to be like some chick that doesn't pay attention to any sports related stuff and has no idea who he is.
Even then,
and even
she's
then,
gonna
it's still
figure it
questionable.
out when he starts signing autographs while they're having dinner. She's probably gonna figure it out.
I mean,
like,
yeah,
holy
but like,
shit. People are like mobbing him outside of Kansas City restaurants, and she's like, I don't know
Right.
why they're all around us. Like, no, it's gonna fucking happen. Like, part of it is gonna be that thing.
And that's the thing, and that's why it's hard for those individuals that are at that tier because they don't know who they can trust. Like,
I mean,
Aaron Rodgers, that guy is an asshole, but he can't
100%.
date. He can't just date a chick off the street in Green Bay.
That's
impossible.
That's an interesting point, Tony. That's an interesting point. He actually dates celebrities because that's the only person who's like he knows might actually like him. Because they don't sometimes they don't need him for like
that's the only way he can. That's why celebrities spend so much time dating other celebrities, and you don't see them diving into where they're dating the common man because they don't know if they can rely on it being just about the money.
Right.
We saw that Insta chick that got that NBA player, like basically groomed him, got him to knock her up, and then she was gone.
Right. And I mean, and
that was her plan. That was intentional the whole time. Groomed him for that.
I mean, it's not a bad con.
I mean, as far as cons go, I get it. But at the same time, like that's what these guys have to worry about.
Yeah.
And we forget that so many times with what these athletes go to and the difficulties that they face in life. More money doesn't mean no problems. It just means different ones.
Right. It means a lot. Yeah. I mean, really, it means a lot of them that you don't prepare for because you don't prepare to have that amount of money or that amount of fame. Like there's no preparation for that. It's not like when you're growing up, like unless you grew up in a really famous family, like you're the fucking Baldwins. It's not like you grew up and everybody's like, yeah, everybody's going to try and steal your money from you. Like most people who get famous didn't have famous parents and have absolutely zero preparation for how fucking famous they're going to be and how much money they're going to have. So it's just a fucking shit show. And that's why you see
there's no way to prepare for something like that. You can't possibly prepare from going from I have $1,000 in my checking account to going to I have to call my manager and make sure I can buy something because I don't carry debit cards or checkbooks or cash. People just handle that stuff for me.
I have no idea how much money I have. It's just all in a big fucking mattress somewhere.
Think about this. There was an interview that Eminem did in mid to early 2000s.
Are you talking about the one with really famous CNN guy?
Yeah. And Anderson Cooper, wasn't it? I think Anderson Cooper. Yeah. And he was talking about how he was in a store and he saw a Rolex. It was a $100 watch. And now this is after, he's already a big deal at this point. Cleaning out my closet is already out, stuff like that. And he asked his manager if he had enough to buy a $100 Rolex.
It was a $10,000 Rolex. No,
okay. I'm sorry. It
was because he was like freaking out because he was like $10,000, and this guy is fucking multi-platinum. He's made millions of dollars, and like he was like, I don't know if I have enough money to buy that. Like, he didn't know if he had like 10 grand to like buy a watch, and he was freaking out about it because he was like, man, that's a fucking lot of money, bro. Like I need to like ask somebody about that. Like $10,000 was still a lot of money to him at that point, and he was worth. He was $30 million.
At that point, he was already multimillionaire at that point. And he was talking about it as his manager was like, really, you're asking me if you can buy a $10,000 watch? Of course you can.
Go for it.
Like, I can afford that?
Yes, you can.
He had because he came from nothing.
Yes. 10 grand was a lot of money to him.
So he didn't understand the concept that from where he was at that point now, having become Eminem instead of just being the Kid Marshall Mathers, $10,000 isn't a lot of money to him anymore.
No.
He had no concept of how to move over that hump.
That's also the same interview where he talks about rhyming with the word orange.
Yeah.
And he says, if I just say it different, if I say orange, porridge, He's like, I just changed the syllables and I can rhyme with anything. He's like, poor Ridge.
He was such
with Ridge on the He's like, I can just rhyme with anything. And it was like
that entire video. If I find it, I'll post it in the Sports Report group on Facebook.
It's great.
If you're not in it, check it out. But I'll find it because it was such an interesting interview.
It makes him such a person. He sold a lot of albums after that too, because people were like, holy shit, that guy's like a fucking real dude from like he's from St. Joe, Missouri. Originally.
Right. I mean, and most of us that have lived in St. Joe at some point have at least seen him and or his grandma at some point.
Fuck. I used to work at Olive Garden. Short story.
His grandma, oh God.
I used to work at Olive Garden, and his grandmother used to request me as a server. This is not a joke. This is a fucking real story. Yes.
Oh God.
She used to request me as a server, and all she would do the entire time, I would literally tell them not to seat me again, because this bitch would come in there with a different old guy every time, good looking little older guys. And they would sit there all scared, like sit over in the corner, and she would just sit there the whole time. And she would like show me pictures from his personal Facebook, like his actual Facebook account, and be like, this is him with Haley and blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, oh, that's amazing. Do you want to order something? You've been here for 45 minutes. But
no, when I used to work at South Belt Walmart in St. Joe, when I first started, I did some cashier work before I went to overnights, and she came through my line if she saw me.
Yeah.
Because she would. But I also I was in middle school at the same time Nathan was, and he went to Truman. It was either Truman or Bodie, one of those two middle schools in St. Joe that he went to, and I went to Spring Garden. And so when we did like the YMCA or the YWCA dances that we would do, or any of those things like when the schools were playing each other in sports, I would see him and I ran into him a few times. And so and then as an adult, I'm working at Walmart, and this chick comes through my line talking about how she's Eminem's grandma.
Yeah.
And showing me pictures and trying to use expired coupons because she's Eminem's grandma. And that is not a fucking lie. That's seriously
not a joke. She would do it to everybody. And she would run up an $160 bill. I'm not joking, on carafes of wine, half carafes of fucking the nicest wine that Olive Garden has, which is still shit. But but she would just her and her boyfriend would sit there and drink for 2 fucking hours, and she would tip me $4.
Horrible tipper.
Every fucking time.
But yeah, so
by the way, Eminem's grandma, fuck you. By the way, Eminem's grandma, just fuck you. All right. I did a lot of work for you to tip me $4 fucking. You gave me $12 total. All right. This is bullshit. Yeah. Sorry. Just Eminem's grandma, if you're listening.
He's a regular. He may not listen to us anymore because he's a regular listener.
Regular listener, Eminem. Regular listener.
Eminem, I love you. I'm sorry. Don't have me beat up.
Your grandma's a fucking cunt, dude. I'm sorry.
My God.
Jesus. All right. Sorry.
God damn it, Dan.
Sorry.
We've talked about this. No. But so when we look at, but the difficult thing with this DeShaun Watson case is, from a legal standpoint, you can't take into account the volume of accusations. You have to treat each individual accusation as a separate thing. When the grand jury was reviewing this before they decided not to issue any indictments, they could not at any point consider the volume of accusations. It's each one individually, because the legal precedent is, in the off chance that all 22 of these women are lying, you can't, for him to get a fair trial, you have to consider each count individually until yes, the circumstances are connected. We watch Criminal Minds. This is a pattern. This is his thing. We're talking on After Dark earlier, or on Sports Report earlier. His fix is probably the springing consent on chicks. That's probably what his kink is. Yes.
And just the scenario of him getting a massage. It's already sexualized to him for some reason or the other. Who fucking knows? There will never be any psychological breakdown of that. So anybody's guess is as good as anybody else's.
Or that'll be in the common media. I'm sure psychology students are going to study that case for, when it comes to understanding deeper stuff on sexual assault cases, they're going to study the DeShaun Watson case deeply. But
at least that's a silver lining in it, that they get some kind of content into like the psychological side of that, because
right,
it seems like a weird thing that almost always is a person who has power or fame or money who does those kind of like, who just wants to like spring it on somebody to see whether or not they'll do it. Do you understand? Like to see to almost to impose their will over somebody else.
Move.
It is a power move.
It is
a power move. Yeah, and it's like they just want to impose their will on somebody else, and like that's what gets them off. And you know what? And like I don't want this to come off as a bad soundbite, but like I feel sorry for like Louis C.K. and like DeShaun Watson. That's the only way they can fucking come, dude. For real, like that's the only way they can get off. That's weird as fuck.
And that's the thing to me is these individuals that are like this and that are at that point, Louis C.K., you know, I draw a little bit of a parallel with that earlier because there are some loose connections between the two cases if you look at it, because Louis C.K.'s thing was also evolved to a point of springing consent on women. Now, yes, his wasn't as bad in the sense that it was just trying to get chicks to watch him jack off.
Only because he wasn't like, only because they weren't actually doing anything to him physically. Like he was doing it to himself. They were just watching. That's where it like it separates a little bit. But at the same time, like he's still springing consent, which is fucked up.
Right.
And that's the
core of the issue is still the thing. Like
that's the rapey part of it.
DeShaun Watson is more escalated than what Louis C.K.'s alleged improprieties had been.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of connection there. You know, when you look at the alleged improprieties by Bill Cosby, obviously, some of those cases has been thrown out. That's why I'm using the alleged. I'm not saying he didn't do it. I just don't want to get sued. But when we look at these alleged things,
Bill Cosby, if you're watching,
the fixation is the removing of consent, not giving her the opportunity to say no because she's completely incoherent.
Right. Yeah. That's actually just rape. I mean, those are just called.
Yeah, I mean, it is rape.
Raping women.
And I will still say that I believe that what Louis C.K. is alleged to have done and what DeShaun Watson is alleged to have done is still sexual assault, is still rape.
Absolutely.
But there is also this psychology thing. We have these individuals that have made this to a higher level, but they still have to do this. They still have to find a way to feel like they're in power. The truth of the matter that comes from is, and Britney Spears, that poor fucking woman and everything that she went through. I'm going to draw a parallel to her in these scenarios for one simple reason. When you look at her shaving her head, where the whole Britney breakdown thing started, okay? One of the things that you have to remember, if you don't know a lot about this case and what this poor girl has been through, is that at this point, you know, she was made an international sex symbol at 16 years of age. So first of all, her father, Jamie Spears, go fuck yourself for making your 16, allowing that to happen. I don't care if she wanted it. As a father, how dare you?
Dick of the Week Lifetime Achievement Award. Fucking
seriously, how dare you think that it's any way of a good idea to put your 16-year-old girl in a position to be an international sex symbol and the pressure that entails. So we're gonna start with that. But then as she progresses through her pop music career in the late 90s and early 2000s, before the breakdown happened, there was insurance for her breasts, her hair, her legs.
Oops, he did it
her
again.
Vocal cords, like her voice. There was insurance policies on these things so that if something irreparable happened and she experienced gross financial loss, that there could be remunerations. This person was physically insured. She was an asset to all of the people around her. She had no control over who she spent time with, how she spent her own money, where she went, what she did, no control over it. Because of the value of her body to her career. And so when Britney shaved her head, Britney was taking control of her life back.
Yes. in a very
her
weird
shaving
way
her head. And she was obviously, she needed mental health help at that point. And that's the point that I'm getting at. This escalation, this full thing where she was grabbing and trying to take control of her life back. That was because with everything else that she has done, multi-platinum recording artist, millions of dollars in the bank, she still didn't have control of her life because all of these people that were around her told her everything. She had no power. DeShaun Watson, as an NFL quarterback, doesn't have very much control over his life. And that's one of the things that people have to remember. Like, the reason that he was able to do that stuff in massages is because that was one of the few things that he was allowed to do. You know, that story a few years back about Patrick Mahomes playing basketball with some friends and slipping. After that, guess what? Patrick Mahomes didn't get to play basketball anymore.
That's different. That's different though. He's an athlete.
You know,
their bodies are insured the whole time.
You know, but because, you know, he can't have fun and go paintball with his friends like you or I could. You know, he doesn't have control over that. To be able to play football, he has to pay a nutritionist to tell him what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat, what seasonings he can use, everything.
Right. But that's different though, because his body is insured for the fact that he can still scramble and throw a 70-yard pass.
Right, but
here's the thing about
him choosing to do that though. He loses a lot of control. He can't shoot hoops with his friends like he wants to. I mean, like, he can't. He's got a basketball hoop. He's got a basketball.
He plays basketball still.
You know, he's got a basketball court in his house. Of course, he still plays basketball. But, like, he can't go play a pickup game with his friends and you know, have people come watch and shoot some social media content. He's just playing basketball.
Right.
He can't even though he was drafted into the Major League Baseball, he can't go play baseball because that could fuck up his arm or fuck up his throwing motion. The throwing motion for a football is different than a baseball. So that's the thing. When you get to that level, you sacrifice control. Louis C.K., he was allowed to do stand-up, but because of his contracts with FX on the show that he had at that point, he still has things he can't do. And so these individuals that are so psychologically lost because they're rich and don't know who they can trust, even though they came from nothing, they're surrounded by people that tell them what they can do, what they can say, what they can wear, who they can talk to all the time. You've now come into a bunch of money, so you don't know who you can trust in general in the situations where you do have control. And so these outbursts of things happen because of a perceived lack of control. But the issue is they don't have the mental health support to handle the situation.
Clearly not. Is there probably is for some people enough mental health control, but like, I mean, spring that on a lot of people that I know, just spring fame and a bunch of money and just see how they react to it. That's not a good thing. It's not going to end up well.
You know, with the way that Louis C.K. looks as a guy, most women aren't going to pay him any mind. Let's be honest here. I'm not knocking the guy.
No.
As a comedian on stage, he's a great comic. But now all of a sudden he's a famous comic. He's on TV and these women are throwing themselves at him. But a lot of them is because, as we've discussed already so far in this conversation, money. Money. It changes people.
Fame.
It always does. Money and fame.
Yeah. And
so he doesn't know who to trust, and he doesn't understand how to handle all of this frustrating sexual energy he's had, because obviously he's a below average appearance guy by most standards. So he wasn't getting the attention that he's now getting at that point. He doesn't know how to process it. He doesn't know who to trust. These female comics are supposed to be somewhat his equal.
Right. From a sexual aspect, he's a teenager.
Exactly. He's a confused teenager. He doesn't know what to do.
He doesn't know what he's never like, you know, he does a bit about how he's like, hey guys in high school, he's like, you're never going to get laid. He's like, but I'll tell you this much, it gets better. He's like, it's time over income equals something square or over income squared or something like that. Is his bit, but it's like,
right. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. So yeah, he's talking about how it's basically just like time over, you know, power equals income squared or whatever. And like, that's a huge exactly what you're talking about. It's a huge telling point about what he was going through. Is like he was like, oh yeah, well now that I have all this, like everybody thinks I'm attractive and stuff. He's like, he was a confused teenager sexually though. I mean, the guy is probably like it's clearly admits he was a virgin until he was very older, like an older guy.
And that's the thing is so these individuals, now you have DeShaun Watson. Again, his behavior is not okay, just like Louis C.K., just like these other guys. Let's be clear. But when we look at the psychological aspect of it, you've got a guy like DeShaun Watson. The only contact that he has with other people, most of the time, are either yes men, coaches, and trainers, and then massage therapists, because that's an important part of an athlete's recovery is getting massages. It is. Yeah. So so even as the Browns, they can't tell him he can't get massages, because as an athlete, it's part of your recovery.
If you're the Browns, do you give him all male massage therapists?
Absolutely. Unless you're,
you have to, right?
You have to. I mean, and that's something you can do. Look, you can get massages, but you're going to have a massage therapist. And once you're on that table and you're covered up, a camera gets turned on before that massage therapist walks in the room.
With a microphone.
You have to, I mean, it's the only option that you have, because you have to remove any and all possibility that this can be accused again as an organization, because
he wouldn't be that dumb, would he?
If this is his thing, it's going to happen again.
He would be,
I mean, from a psychological standpoint, unless you make it impossible to happen, it's going to happen again. And the Browns, because of all of these other accusations that have now been out, if the Browns don't put his dick in a vice grip and make it impossible for what he was doing before to happen again, a massage therapist or a trainer gets, something happens, he escalates and tries to spring consent on one of those individuals, the Browns are going to get sued and they're going to be held financially liable too. And they're not going to be able to do shit about it.
Yeah, because they didn't do. They're going to,
because they're claiming they did their due diligence in vetting him.
Yeah.
They don't have a choice.
You did your due diligence and taking a fucking dice roll and absolutely just taking a chance on signing this guy. Like you are taking a chance, and you don't know how bad this guy's sickness is. Honestly, like if it's like 22 chicks, this is a sickness. He has like this is a sickness
it legitimately
that you aren't gonna cure with the $120 million. It's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck.
And so here's the thing though, like, and I can understand, at the end of the day, the NFL is a business, and like what Will said on Sports Report earlier about Mina Kimes, remembering that the NFL is a business, not an avenue of, a vehicle of morality. I get that.
Was it Mina or Molly Karam?
Oh, I'm sorry, Molly Karam.
It was Molly
Karam. Okay, my bad. Mina was saying Mina was basically saying the same thing. Like, so forgive me on that. But like,
I'm gonna watch those two. I'm gonna all watch.
Mina. The one that I saw from Mina was on Twitter. I don't know if she's said that in anything on an actual piece. So I'll be clear on that. Mina tweeted it, but Molly said it on First Take.
Yeah.
And I'm not, but the other, when an NFL team says with an individual like this, in a case like this, we have done the work and vetted this person. The Browns said they did. But you also have Tony Bisbee, the attorney representing these 22 women, saying that the NFL nor any team has contacted him to talk to any of these women. When you tell your fan base you vetted them, you didn't talk to any of these victims, and then it happens again, at that point, the Browns don't have any leg to stand on. They're going to face legal culpability if he tries anything with a massage therapist again.
Well, fuck, the Browns don't have a leg to stand on in the first place. If they don't have, if that happens, they might as well just get that franchise out of Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, change the name and move it.
The owner, I mean, at that point, the ownership and GMs are gone. At that point, never going to work again in the NFL.
That's I mean,
Hands
you're
down.
taking a chance. You're taking a chance and a half and still paying that motherfucker a bunch of money. It's like that's why at the beginning of this I said I don't know what DeShaun Watson has done to deserve this kind of like this is some straight top 3 quarterback in the NFL type shit. And I don't know if he's any better than Lamar Jackson. If Lamar Jackson does this same thing, Lamar Jackson doesn't play in the fucking NFL again.
No.
Right?
No.
So what the fuck? Like, where is this coming from?
And that's what I don't understand. Because, yes, the NFL now has packed with elite talent. All of these trades. The AFC West is the most broken division in the NFL. It's like playing Madden without fucking salary cap, with a Madden franchise mode with the salary cap off.
Right.
That's an accurate depiction of the AFC West and how broken it is right now. Now, of course, these other teams are making moves to try and compete with the Chiefs. They're not making moves that are strong enough to dethrone the dynasty that the Chiefs have started. And I think at this point, the Chiefs have won the division for 7 straight years. Guess what? It's a dynasty. We can say it now.
It's not I wouldn't say dynasty because dynasty.
It's an AFC West dynasty.
It's an
I'll
AFC.
say that.
Oh, they're the pride. They're the pride of the AFC at this point, and they're a perennial powerhouse. What description I would use. They're not a dynasty because dynasties win championships. The Steelers, the Patriots, the Cowboys in the 90s, those are dynasties. I would say those are dynasties.
Okay, all right. And they have only gotten one. Yes, they've won the AFC West multiple times, and they've gotten to the championship game.
Is Kansas City a perennial powerhouse who has the potential to be a definite dynasty? Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that.
Potentially, but a dynasty, no. They're not yet.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
They're not yet. I mean, hey, Tony, I'm going to pull the same move that you did on me last week, and I'm gonna pop out of the picture real quick. Can you? Do we have an ad to run or something? We have any ads?
You know what? We've been running for an hour and a half. Why don't we just kill it? Why don't we just kill it?
No. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back.
You want to come back? All right. Yeah. Let's just take a quick break. I feel you.
Run the promo. I gotta pee.
Okay, I got you.
You got moused. Tony.
All right, and thank you for sticking out with us here at the Sports Report After Dark. That first ad was for the Geek Gauntlet podcast, which runs on the William Morgan Media Twitch page, Saturday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. That is hosted by Will Morgan and Shaw, going into all things geek related. They have a great show. I watch it every week when I can. And just going into all things geeks related, just comic books, movies, geek culture, giveaways, stuff like that. They just give away some Huckleberry Hound Funko Pops last week. It was really cool. I wanted to win them, but he wouldn't give them to me.
I'm back.
And also that second ad was for Double XP, which runs Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Pinfall stream pages, as well as the Double XP group. It's two sisters all talking gaming and going into all things gaming related. That is hosted by Kay and and her sister Pun, and also Tyler on there as well, as they go into things like news, new releases, and things of that nature. That third ad is for the winter meetings. That is my baseball podcast that runs Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. That is me and my buddy Craig going into all things baseball related in depth, kind of like Dan and I did tonight, but just everything baseball related. We run at 9 p.m. Eastern on Sunday nights. That is in the Facebook group or the Facebook page for the winter meetings, as well as the Pinfall Stream YouTube and Twitch pages. And then a big shout out to Raise Energy and repsports.com going for sponsoring the Pinfall Network. You can use the code GGN10 as well as the code Pinfall for 15% off at repsports.com and Raise Energy. Dan is back.
If anybody didn't notice this neon sign that I bought, I mean, it's a nice Sports Report After Dark neon sign. It's completely original. I had it.
You
done
send Dan $500, he'll send you one, or a thank you letter for sending him $500. One of the two.
I'm starting a GoFundMe for more neon signs that I will then make massive amounts.
Don't give him any money. He will just use it on booze.
Send it
to me because I'll use it on weed, and that's more responsible.
I'll use it on booze and weed. So it's you're diversifying your investment. Really,
you're diversifying. A little bad, a little good. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So when we look at this DeShaun Watson case, though, the Browns are saying they vetted him, but clearly that hasn't done what you would expect. Like if I'm letting somebody that works for me around my female employees in that kind of a scenario, I'm talking to the accusers too. Sorry, I have to. I've got to get their side of it. And I'm going to be asking those questions because there's a sizable investment here, especially now that they restructured his contract. And on top of that, they minimized his salary for this next season so that if he gets suspended, he's not taking as much of a financial loss. These are consistent, methodical steps by the Browns to have and utilize DeShaun Watson.
Tony, I have seen absolutely nothing about whether or not DeShaun Watson is worth all of this.
And that's the thing.
What is he worth at this point? Like, you guys are rolling out a red carpet of fucking mystery?
Because he's already sat for a year.
Is he? Oh my God! How many quarterbacks do you do this for?
And that's the thing is if we're going to give DeShaun Watson the ability to come back after a year that wasn't from injury, that was from this, then Kaepernick better be getting workouts from the Seahawks. He better be getting a workout from the Panthers.
He waited too long at this point, I think.
I mean, and that's the thing with him. I think it's just been too long. But even when he had been a year without Cap, he wasn't getting tryouts. They were already arguing it's been too long since he's been in the game.
Honestly,
after and I don't think Cap is the best quarterback. I don't think he's the best quarterback. And on talent, I don't think he should be starting. And I will say that on talent. I don't give a fuck that he was kneeling.
I might be crazy, dude, but I don't think him and DeShaun Watson are that far apart. I mean, I think DeShaun Watson's a better quarterback, but I don't think.
DeShaun's a better quarterback. I'll give him that. But
I think
but
he
here's
is,
the thing.
But
with Cap, my thought that Cap should be playing in the NFL right now has nothing to do with the fact that he was kneeling. I respect what he did. It was a peaceful protest. It's constitutionally protected. So whether or not you agree with what he was doing, go fuck yourself. It was his right. But talent, I can't put him in a starting lineup except for
he's like, he's like discount Lamar Jackson. He's like Dollar Tree Lamar Jackson.
There's very little.
Family.
The ceiling for him is very low. I would take DeShaun over Cap, but I also think that if you're going to let these guys with these big gaps, with big problems back in, Cap gets an actual shot at working out for an NFL team. You got to give it to him. If Tebow got a shot with Urban fucking Meyer and that racist prick, Cap should get a shot.
I told you I got a Tim Tebow Jacksonville Jaguars tight end card, right? I got a mosaic.
You told me that, yes.
Like, dude, that I've not seen another one. There's one. I have one, and I have like multiples of all these guys. Like, this is it's like rare. Like, I think they only made it for like a certain little stint until he got cut, and then they made the rest of them. And like, dude, I love it. I'm gonna keep it forever because it's so stupid. He's literally
you've got to get a signature on that if you ever get a shot.
He's in like a practice jersey. He's in like a practice jersey, and he's like turning around to catch a route. And I'm like, yeah, you're terrible, bro. Like, you should not even be there. Like, your weird grinding coach is just like giving you a shot because you were good in college. This is not what we're talking about. Like, that's really not. It's like,
I mean, and here's the thing. We're talking about the decision to let him get time was made by Urban Meyer, the same guy that when one player was trying to explain a route to another, this is one of these things that came out today, I think you saw. He was like, hey, don't break it down like that. He's from the South. You know, their transcripts ain't right.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah. This is a guy who's talking down to Florida mothers for 10 years. Essentially.
How?
And then Utah, and then people in Utah. First, he gets Utah. So he's talking down to people in Utah because he thinks he's better. And then he goes to Florida and starts talking down to people. And no, it was right. Is that how it went? No. Ohio State. No, Florida, and then Ohio State, right?
Florida and then Ohio State, yeah.
And then Ohio State,
and then Utah.
No,
it was Utah, Florida, Ohio State. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then Ohio State last, yeah. So like he's just talking down to people in the South for how long? Was
Kicking he doing this players, for? making actual grown NFL men players cry
because he was degrading them.
How
good are you, Urban Meyer? Like, how smart are you, Urban Meyer? Are you really you're just smarter than everybody? Is that basically what you're saying?
If you're gonna belittle players to get control of the situation, the Bill Belichick method and how new players got introduced when Brady was still in New England was perfect. New day with all rookies and new guys on the team. First day. He plays a game that Tom Brady played bad in and rips him apart. And Tom Brady has to sit in this every year.
Oh, yeah. Because he's basically showing
ripped apart by Bill Belichick in front of these guys so that they understand he is the one that's in control in New England.
Yep.
I think it's a dick move.
And everybody's...
But if you're going to make a power play on Tom Brady as Bill Belichick, that's how you do it with class.
And if you don't think that he talked to him before that too, before he did
of course, like Brady, yeah.
And Bill's very calculated. If you ever watch Bill talk to somebody, it's almost like you can't be mad at him. It's like you can't be mad at him because he's doing it for you. You're like, okay, that's a dick move, but it's so calculated and it's for a reason. And it's almost like that scene in Fight Club where he comes up behind. He's like, what did you want to be to the gas station attendant? He's got the gun to his back of his head. He's like, what did you want to be? And that's really what it is. It's like, he has an idea and you have to give it to him. It makes sense. The whole thing makes sense. And
absolutely,
in theory, it works out. And that's what he was doing the whole time. He's like, hey, I'm just going to show all these guys that everybody's equal on this team. And Tom was like smart about it. And he was like, we've been winning. That fucking makes total sense. Like that. You're a fucking genius.
He has no reason to not go along with that. Like, I mean, from a structure standpoint, it's smart, even if you're the star player, for everybody to know that the coach is in charge. As the star player, I don't want that kind of power. I want to be able to show off and fucking play. Yes, my instincts on the field are going to play out. But when it comes to the power hierarchy on the team, fuck yeah, I want that on the coach. I don't want that on me.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, you don't. But
LeBron is a prime example right now.
Yes.
He should not have been given the power to build his own team in LA. Plain and simple.
Because he's obviously going to use a very biased, very misguided opinion on other players. Obviously, Russ Westbrook. Braun is using this like, oh, I saw him play against me, so he's going to play just as well with me.
No,
that doesn't make any fucking sense, LeBron.
That's not how it works.
I know that it doesn't make any sense, LeBron. Like, I get it.
But when we look at all of this stuff, like, I mean, and this is what these guys have to deal with. It doesn't make when these guys have bad things, do bad things, whether it's what DeShaun Watson is alleged to have done, Henry Ruggs getting drunk and crashing a car at 140 miles an hour plus and killing a 21-year-old girl that was just on her way home from taking a drunk friend home and her dog.
Ugh,
You know, these guys are human.
part.
Yeah. These guys are human.
I gave his girlfriend, by the way, Dick of the Week, like
for letting him fucking
2 months
drive.
ago,
Seriously.
for letting him drive.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, if I recall the reports correctly, that she was pretty much sober. And I'm not going to say that she's going to go to him and be like, hey, I'm going to drive. Like, I understand that that's a dynamic that you aren't telling this motherfucker he ain't driving his car. You're not going to do it, especially a $100,000 vehicle.
Right.
He's probably going to drive the vehicle. And I don't think that's on her. I really don't. That's obviously on him completely. But like, at the same time, it's like, who is not stopping this motherfucker? How
do you get in that car?
Admitted reports drank a lot of alcohol.
He had been at Topgolf for like 6 fucking hours.
He's hitting golf balls at Topgolf for 6 hours. At the end of it, you know he's just missing golf balls and shit. And they're like, this motherfucker can't even fucking, he's toasted. He's fucking
But that's
toasted.
the thing. As his girlfriend, my first thing to her, how do you get in that car?
Why are you getting in it in the first place?
Why are you getting in that car?
Yeah.
That's how you get his attention. Look, I'm not going with you. If you want to drive your drunk ass home and get somebody killed, that's on you. I'm not putting my life in danger. I'm taking a fucking Uber. How do you make that decision?
Dude, sit here and tell me that you haven't gotten in a car with somebody who's, I mean, you don't know they're going to go 140 miles an hour on the fucking, in a 35 or whatever, obviously. But like, I've been in vehicles with very, very intoxicated people who have been driving, and they have done stupid things. Like, and I just happen to survive through them. Like, this would have been no different than probably what happens on a daily basis with a lot of people. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it's any different. I think
he's just well funded.
This ended badly is what happened. Mm-hmm. This ended very, very badly. And so now
I was talking to a cop one day. My card got broken into and I'd call and file a police report so I could file an insurance claim. I was talking to this police officer and she had brought out this deck kid. They brought out this like fresh out of training kid to take the report. And she said that the average person that gets caught driving drunk and gets a DUI has driven drunk at least 200 times before they got caught.
Yep.
Little boxes. Yes. Dan. Yeah. It's Dan the Dick Warner. His middle name is Richard, but he's
just to clear it up.
And he's also a dick. Like, I've known him personally for a number of years. He's a dick. And that's just kind of where we go.
That's kind of the, yeah.
But, you know, these guys like Henry Ruggs, DeShaun Watson, they don't hear no. So when they hear it, it escalates. And now Ruggs was a younger guy, so he had probably heard it more recently than DeShaun Watson had. So, you know, and of course, both of these individuals clearly should have known better for their behaviors and how they've impacted and hurt untold things. Like, that's what it is.
And it comes to that point too where you know he was just in there fucking showing off is what he was doing. And if you go 140 miles an hour in a 35 or whatever the fuck he was doing, you're clearly just going, hey, my car is really fast.
God damn it, little boxes. No, that's not what you're supposed to. You shouldn't have done the first 199, like, at all.
Yes,
like
That's
dope.
Hey,
no.
Hey, little boxes. By the way, I mean, I have driven like this is admittedly I've driven drunk several times in my life. Obviously, like this is seriously, it happens. You do. But what I don't do is I don't fucking do 140 miles an hour in a 35. I don't show off while I'm driving drunk. I'm back to like,
I'm just trying to get my drunk ass home.
Exactly. I'm very careful. Like, I'm just trying to not get pulled over. Like, oh God. Like, I'm super careful. I'm serious. Like, I'm super careful.
And little boxes. Yeah, it's done. That's why I stopped. You see, that's the right choice. Exactly.
That's not justifying it. That's not justifying it. I should not have done it. But at the same time, like, I'm not going 140. I'm trying to I'm staying speed limit. I'm fucking, and that's in between the lane. Like, I'm trying to fucking not get pulled over and not.
And that's the thing is there's so much of an escalation with these individuals because they feel like they have lost a sense of control in their lives. You know, a normal person that is frustrated with their job is not going to shave their hair like Britney Spears did. A normal person that gets turned on by getting handies during a massage isn't going to spring consent on somebody. They're going to pay somebody to do what they want them to do.
Right.
You know, but when you have
the proper channels to things that these people usually don't take. They don't take them because thanks. It's that's a neon sign back there.
It is a fucking TV. Go fuck yourself.
It's a real neon sign.
Yeah. Just like fucking Pamela Anderson's tits are real.
Hey, Pam Anderson, dude, that's so weird that you said that because I was actually going to bring up Pam Anderson in the Britney conversation.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you've watched Pam and Tommy on Hulu.
Oh, that was a great
show. They did a great job.
Seriously, watch that if you get a chance to watch it. It's great.
Check it out. They did a fucking great job. But that's kind of the same thing. She felt like the whole time that the only thing that she was worth was her body the whole time. That's what it was. That's what made her money. And so physically you start to feel like that's what's worth the money. Obviously she doesn't have the dad thing. She controls her own body.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's still different scenarios. And yes, Little Boxes. It's on Hulu. There is it's called
great.
Pam and Tommy, and it talks about them and their relationship and kind of like when the sex tape got released and what happened with that. It's kind of a documentary about that. But also I think it's more of a movie because like they have people reenacting stuff and like all of that. But
the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Did a great job.
It's a very interesting story on really what happened because like even especially like the information we got in the media with that. I know a lot of us were a lot younger when that happened, but you know, it was definitely spun to be very different than what actually happened.
Yes.
So it's worth.
That's the weird thing too, Tom. Because did you notice that? No, not really. No, it's about the downfall of Motley Crue, kind of. There's a lot of stuff about like the downfall but that was the time period. Right. They were out of the 80s, so they were not in their prime. They were on the downfall in their prime. Yeah. And a lot of it is like they're trying to make it because he was frustrated at their downfall. She was rising in fame and he was falling in fame at the same time. And they do make a good point of that. But other than that, no, there's not a whole lot of stuff about like And what's his name? Sebastian Stan is the guy who plays Tommy Lee.
And did a great job.
He's the Winter Soldier. Yeah. Oh my God, he did a great job, dude. He fucking did
it's
great.
Fantastic.
And the chick who plays Pamela does a fucking great.
What is her name? Who is that? I can't remember what her name is.
Did you see Baby Driver?
Yes.
The chick who works in the restaurant.
Okay. All right. I know you're
from
talking.
Baby Driver, dude. Doesn't even look like her. Doesn't even look like her. They put. Yeah.
That movie was Baby Driver. That movie was horrible in the dumbest ways. There is so much potential with that to be a good movie. Like, and yes, Kevin Spacey, creepy, horrible person, another Me Too thing we could talk about.
Right.
But he's a great actor.
Jamie Foxx, John Hamm.
I mean, but that movie, I had a hard time with that movie. I've been trying to go back and watch it again at some point, but I had a hard time.
Yeah, you should. I liked it.
But I mean, but you know, it's these same things, you know, these, when you get to that level, it has a shock, and it's almost, and for some people, like, unless you were raised around money and you were born into it, like you're famous because your parents were famous, it is a shocking experience because of what comes around. All these people that are trying to scam you, and, you know, you get sued for the dumbest reasons every day. Like the,
probably makes you very withdrawn.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And so, I also do, we do sports report after dark. I also host, Winter Meetings. It's a baseball podcast on Sunday nights. And then a, First Generation Dad is a dad podcast that I do during the, I usually start that in the summer around Father's Day, and we run until NFL season gets to be too crazy.
Is Little Boxes like little boxes on the hillside? Little boxes made of ticky-tacky. You know what I'm talking about? Little boxes on the hillside, and they all look just the same.
I remember that.
It's a song from Weeds.
That's what it was. Weeds. Great show. Mm-hmm. Mary Louise Parker. Oh, my God. Oh. Yeah. Kevin Nealon was in that.
Kevin Nealon's fucking great. Yeah.
Great in that.
The black dude from 40-Year-Old Virgin. who works in the video store with him is
because
awesome.
he's one of the drug dealers that she ends up hooking up with.
Bald guy.
Yeah,
yep.
Amber and I watched the fuck out of that show. It was a great show.
Great.
But we need to get back on topic and wrap this up because we're at like an hour and 45
Yeah,
minutes.
we need to sign off. Yeah.
But there is a serious thing here about the mental health that needs to be discussed, because these individuals have all of these resources with the problems that they have, because the problems are there. We need to remember that these individuals are human too. Just because they're in the public eye does not mean they're going to be perfect. It is unreasonable to expect a famous person to be perfect. However, we should also be spending more time talking about mental health impacts on those situations, because and how important it is to take care of your mental health. Like, yes, Calvin Ridley getting caught gambling while he was away from the Falcons last year was done. But the fact that he recognized that he needed to take a mental health break from the NFL and sacrifice the financial side of things to take care of himself, I respect the fuck out of that and wish more athletes did it when they need to.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield, with everything he's dealing with Cleveland right now, I'd be willing to bet you if it was possible for him to take a year off and then actually come back and play, I guarantee you would get a better quarterback than what we're going to see next year.
Yeah.
But I still think he's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder because he's got something to prove.
Yep. And stop acting like just because these people have money too, that somehow they're inept from your abuse or from anybody's abuse. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's a lot of people do. They're like, oh, he's got enough money. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, just because he has a bunch of money doesn't mean that just solves all of his problems. Like, yes, can money buy happiness? It can be a catalyst to happiness.
There's a scientific formula.
It doesn't buy happiness. And there is
a scientific formula for money buying happiness, and it's true. Up to a certain amount. It's like $100,000, like 70 to 100,000. It's somewhere in there. Once you get past that, it's done. It doesn't matter. But somebody that is making, in a positive financial situation, 70 to 100,000 a year will be happier than a person who's making 45,000 a year or 30.
Or at least have less natural stress in their life.
Yeah.
Because money is a huge stressor.
And this is the thing. This is why mental health is so important. And a lot of people don't realize this. Stress weakens your immune system. So all of these people that have been stressed for the last few years about COVID, the more stressed you get about it, the more susceptible you are to COVID actually setting in an infection taking place. If you're, during flu season, you're stressed out because it's flu season, you're having to work harder because your coworkers are out, or you're stressed out because your coworkers came to work sick and there's still other people out, and all of those stress from the holidays comes in. That's why people get sick around the holidays more commonly. Stress weakens your immune system. So we need to be more proactively getting these individuals into where they understand that taking care of their mental health is just important as their physical health. Because if they don't take care of their mental health, the physical health isn't going to matter, because they're going to fuck up and it's going to be gone.
If anybody listening hasn't realized this yet, this thing controls everything else.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't realized it, this thing controls everything else. And I literally mean everything else. It's every single thing.
Taking care of your mind is just important as taking care of your body.
Yep.
Because you won't be able to take care of your body adequately enough if you don't take care of your mind, because it will break down.
Hand in hand. Perfect note.
All right. Yep. Perfect note to end it on. Okay. Little Boxes, thank you for joining us. Victor, I know I saw you in there earlier. I don't know if you're still here, but thank you. Please connect with us through the Facebook group. You go to Facebook, search the Sports Report After Dark. Dan and I are both in there. I probably don't post as much as I should, but I also post in the Sports Report, the regular Sports Report group, and you can connect.
I do both usually.
And please tune in next week. We'll be here 11:30 Eastern, talking a whole bunch of shit about sports. And Little Boxes, once we're done, the episode will be available. You can go back and watch from the beginning if you want. And we'd love, more feedback. We're always trying to get better and do better. Just because we don't like ourselves doesn't mean we don't like what we're doing. Any final thoughts tonight, Dick?
Nah, fuck Tony C. Where the fuck you at, Tony C? I'm gonna conjure him. I'm literally just gonna poke at him until he comes back. I'm gonna poke at him very slowly until he comes back. Tony C's one of our guys that does the sports report with us, and he just
or the show sports report.
Bouncing
He's a
off on me.
basketball guy.
I'm sure he has a good idea. I'm sure he has a good reason. Sorry for not being there, but I'm just gonna I'm gonna give him shit. He's got some good ideas, but I'm just gonna give him shit until he comes back. Hey, so you want to see my Tony and C impression? 7 though, man. Like, hey, Dan though. That's my Tony C impression. Dan.
You need to do that next time
Dan.
he's on there.
Yo, Dan.
Next time he's on the sports report. I want to see him.
7 though. I got a question for you though, 7 though.
Let me ask you this.
Let me ask you this, 7. The 76ers, man. The 76ers, man. I'm telling you, 7. Yo, hey, Dan, though. Let me ask you a question. Okay. He's gonna be so fucking pissed. If he ever sees that, he's gonna be so fucking pissed.
Oh man, he's gonna beat us up through the stream. That's what's gonna happen. But
he will jump through, and yes.
All right, man. It was a good tonight as always. I'm so glad we're back to doing this. And
we didn't go off the rails that bad. Last
week
was
bad.
bad.
I mean, yeah, we ran for 2 hours, but like we did all right.
Did you see the fucking cut parts where your internet goes out last time?
Yeah,
I lost my fucking mind. You cannot put me on alone. If I'm on alone,
I won't do that to you again.
I'm like Garth from fucking Wayne's World, where they put him on, and he's like, he's like, cool, and he just like stands up and walks out. That's all it is. Yeah.
All right, man. I love you, buddy. And
love you, man. See you guys.
Well, everybody, we'll see you next week, 10 p.m. Eastern for the sports report, and then 11:30 Eastern for After Dark. Have a good night, everyone.
I am not a crook.
Oh, hold on.
Yep. Get the button.
God damn it!
This
is not working the way it's supposed to.
It's the red one.
It is not the red one. There is no red button.
My laptop. I think I shut my.